with Patrick Duchene. Just a couple quick things. So my name is Mike. I am one of the salespeople here at Hardscape Software. I'm going to be doing a quick introduction with Patrick here momentarily and a couple quick housekeeping items, and then we'll get started. So on the for Patrick Duchene, he attended the University of Ohio State and studied landscape architecture and horticulture. He started using Hardscape software in 2003, and because of that, he has a wealth of experience in the software and knowledge about the industry, obviously, and started his own business called Duchene Design Solutions in 2013. So on today's agenda, as I mentioned, we're doing a couple quick housekeeping items. So for anyone who hasn't attended this webinar or webinar series before, everyone is muted, so we try and keep the background noise to a minimum and to save audio for everyone else. If anyone has any questions, there is a questions bar in the right-hand side of your screen on that navigation bar there. So type any questions, and we'll try and get answers delivered to Patrick at the end of the webinar and hopefully get everyone answered. And as always, this webinar is also being recorded for anyone who isn't here or if they have to duck out early due to business, obviously. So this will be recorded, and it should be posted on the Hardscape website on the articles and videos section, if not by the end of the day today, by tomorrow. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, and you'll also receive an automatic email, I believe, through the GoToWebinar website reminding you of that as well. So without further delay, let me pass it over to Pat. Let me get rolling here.
Can you hear me okay, Mike?
I can indeed.
Okay, good. Hi, everybody. So I think this is webinar 5, and hopefully everybody can see my screen with ASUS on it.
Yeah.
Today will be kind of another short webinar. I'm going to go over a couple of simple tools, but I think what I want to start doing is getting more into some business management kind of features of Hardscape that is, I think, underused. I don't see a lot of people using a couple of these things, and I think everybody's going to like what I'm going to show you. So let's get the easy thing out of the way first. On the emails you got, one of the things is trimming lines from pillars, and a lot of you are probably wondering what in the world that means. But as I use a lot of pillars, or I've used a lot of pillars, it started to become kind of annoying to trim lines out of pillars, because what I would end up doing is, that's not a pillar, hold on one second. What I would end up doing, like if I had a seat wall between the two of these, and I wanted to put that seat wall in, and then I had like another pillar, let's say we have 3 pillars in a row, what I would do is I would draw my line all the way from here, let's get my constraints off, from here to here. Then I would offset this to get like a 1 foot wide foot wall or seat wall. So I'd offset this, but then you have these lines in the center, and graphically you don't want that. So then what I ended up doing is going through here, drawing a line here, drawing a line through here, here, and then another one here, just so I could trim all of these out, which became very redundant and time wasting. So then I'd have to go through there, and now I have my clean lines which go all the way to the pillar. So what I do now, instead of doing that process, I'll draw a square around this. So let's delete these. So whatever size pillar I bring in, so let's say I bring in a 2-foot pillar, I'll draw a 2-foot box around the pillar. And what that's doing is it's giving me my trim boundaries. So if I pull this away, I have this kind of ghost line behind there. So when I copy my pillars, I'm going to copy both of these over. I'm going to copy that one, that one, that one. Then all I do is this. I'll go Inference Settings, click to Middle, and I'll just run this thing all the way out. Then I'll offset it a 1/2 foot, one on that side, one on this side. So there's my wall. Now all I have to do is 1, 2, 3, and then get rid of those. See how much faster that was? So now I have my clean lines. You know, you still have that kind of ghost line behind there, but it's not going to make a difference. You're never going to see it. So it seems kind of like not a big deal to do in a webinar, but this saves me quite a bit of time just doing pillars. So it's all those little tricks that kind of, you know, help speed you up. Another thing I wanted to show you was creating custom toolboxes or toolbars. So obviously Dynascape comes with all of these toolbars. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. All kinds of toolbars that they all have really good tools, but how many do you really use when you're doing drawings? Maybe 8 of them, 9 of them. So I'm just starting to get into using it, and I've made one on my one on my other computer. I'm going to put one on here, but you know, you kind of have to relearn where your instinct is. You know, I'm so used to, you know, everybody's so used to using toolbars the way they do now. You'll have to kind of relearn a little bit, but I think it's going to speed me up in the long run. So it's really simple. First of all, in the user manual right here, online user manual, if you download this, version 6, it's in chapter 18, and it tells you how to do those. So to make a new toolbar, you go up to your tools, and you go to your tool editor. So this is where you start deciding what tools that you'd want to be able to use all the time. Like insert, I know I use lines all the time, so I'm going to put my line tool in there. I'm going to put my circle tool in there. I'm going to use my polyline tool. Then you go into another section, like dimensioning. Well, let's go to revise first. I know I use this one. Let's just throw that in for text. And maybe let's just throw in one more from dimensioning, because you know you do a lot of dimensioning in your dimension plan. So there's 5 tools. Let's just throw a few more in here. A couple of these I have no idea what they do, but that's okay. Okay, so now you want to name your toolbox or your toolbar. So I'm just going to call mine DDS for my business. You can call yours whatever you want. Tom, Chris, Laura, Bill, whatever. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to click this button right here. Let me show you again. See what it says when you hover over it? Open a tool. No. Save the active toolbox. So you're going to save this as DDS2. Let's just call it DDS2 because I did another one for practice. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to click OK. So now you're not going to see it in the regular tool panel. You're going to see it here where it says DDS toolbar. So this is a really cool thing that I actually learned this week. If you right-click on this blue part, all the toolbars come up in a pull-down menu. So if you get good at it, instead of going and dragging these up, pulling these and constantly having them floating, you can just right-click and switch between. See what's happening? If I right-click and I go to dimension, it just loads dimension. So that's really cool because I see a lot of people doing drawings and they have every toolbar launched, even though they're only using like 7 tools, and all it's doing is it's just congesting your drawing space. So I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to click on DDS toolbar. Now that was one I made a little earlier. So there's DDS. So there are those toolbars that I brought in this, just a minute ago. They still have all the embedded commands to them, which is cool. The circle has all those. So again, it's very simple. You just go to Tools, Tool Editor, drag your items in here that you want, you save it as what you want, and then you save it in the, well, I have to bring one down first. You'll save it in this, and it's great. It launches it right exactly where you need to do this. So let's say you put one in there that you didn't mean to do. All you do is just highlight. You just take this and you drag it to the trash can, and then they're done. So that's custom toolbars, which I think is a big tool. I would rather have one toolbar that has almost all my tools than to be switching back and forth, because I don't like to have a lot of congestion in my drawings. So I'll have draw and edit, but then I open dimension and advanced as I need them, and then I close them down, and that just adds more time to a drawing, which you know, there's only so much time in a day to do these. So those are custom toolbars. Chapter 18 in the user's manual. And then obviously this can be on YouTube, so if you forget what I just said, it'll all be on there. Okay, so this is a really cool, this is a really dynamic feature that Dynascape has that I don't see a lot of people using. So Dynascape software has the ability, if you don't own Manage, you have the ability to save favorite plants and favorite materials, put prices on them, and you're able to generate material lists. So what it won't do is tell you how much kind of ingredients you need for things like a patio. It'll tell you how many square feet you've labeled. It's not going to tell you how much base or labor. That's the managed side of it. But it will give you total prices. It'll give you linear footage for borders, all those things you estimate, plant material. So let's get into it. So I'm just going to pretend we have a project going here. I'm just going to build a house. Let's make sure I'm on a decent scale here. So 30 foot, just to make sure I draw something. Okay. All right, so let's just build a house like this. Do, close. That line's crooked, which I wouldn't normally do, but who cares? It's a webinar. All right. So let's say we want to add let's just keep it simple. We'll put a basic patio on this back corner. Let's offset that patio 6 inches for a soldier course. And then let's draw, let's put some boxwoods along the outside. So let's go grab a boxwood. Let's make them 30 inches. I'm going to put another one over here, and you'll see why I'm going to do this, because I taught this in another webinar. Let's throw one over here, and then I'm going to just draw myself a polyline from here over to here. I'm going to get rid of this, move this over, and then I'm going to go to this tool here, and I'm going to offset those like 28 inches. Okay, a little close. Let's offset those like 30 inches to 30. Okay, so we have a boxwood hedge around this patio. Now, how do we know how many plants we have in a drawing? How do we know how much square footage of pavers and border do we have? Well, you could do it the completely wrong way to do it and count every single one of these, or you could do, you could just take this tool and close this and get a square footage, which is down here, or you could do it the way the system is built to do it. So let's group all these boxwoods first. Let's add a couple more. Let's do let's just hover these here, and then let's put like let's just put a flowering tree somewhere. Let's just throw that there. Okay, so any plants that you want grouped together for labeling, you're going to go up to this tool which says blend and group figures. Uncheck this and just highlight all of those plants you want to group, and then you right click. So now they're one group, which Probably everybody knows that. It's just an easy review. I'm going to group these together too. Okay, so let's just save this real fast as label practice. Okay, now let's decide what we want to make these. Let's make this tree here, let's say that's an Okami cherry. So first what you want to do is you want this to stay in my plants, and you want it to stay local, not manage website and not legacy. Local will be your computer. There's also at Dynascape.com, which pulls from their database like this. So there's Okami cherry. Or you have favorites. We're going to work with favorites in my plants. So first what you want to do is label out of Dynascape first, because that's where you're going to find all these. So let's label this. So you're going to bring up your Okami cherry. If you right-click on Okami cherry, it gives you a couple options. Add it to your plant list, add it to your favorites. So I'm going to add that to my plant list. Why do I do that? Because just because I'm using an Okami cherry doesn't mean it's one of my favorites. So I don't want to congest. You don't want to congest your favorites with all your plants. You want those to be those 10 or 15 or 20 go-to plants that most of us use. So let's put it in the plant list. Now let's go to plant list. So there's my Okami cherry. So now what I can do is select that Okami cherry, go to edit my plant list, and go to Okami cherry. This is one I put in earlier today. So let's just delete this out, and let's delete this out. Okay, here's my Okami cherry. So this is where this is great. You can change whatever any of this says. Now what I can do is I can put what sizes of Okami cherries that I want to be able to pull out of my favorite category. So let's do like a normal size for one of these is going to be like 2-inch to 2.5-inch caliper. I'm going to add that. Now what it gives you a chance to do, or the option to do, is put a price for that. So 2 to 2.5-inch Okami is going to be what, like $135 maybe. Okay, so that is in my that's in my plant list. If you want it in your favorites, see where the star is, you click that, and now it's going to put it in your favorites too. The last thing you want to do is, let's say you don't like this picture of an Okami cherry, which I don't. So I want to use a custom image. Every time you insert your plant images, it's going to pull from your plant images. So what you'll do, you'll go to your plant database. I'm going to go to my Okami cherry, which is LMNO right there. So I'm going to double click that. So now what the software has done, it has assigned that picture to that label. So I'm going to click Save and Close. Okay, let's do another one. So let's go back to Dynascape. Let's make these shrubs. Let's make those Itea. And we're going to make them Little Henry. So I'm going to right-click and add those to my plant list. Then I'm going to select Edit My Plant List. There's my Itea. So let's put in size. So let's say like a number 3. If you wanted to put container, you could. Let's click Add. The price for a 3-gallon would be like, let's say $24. I don't really care for this picture much, so I'm going to go to Custom Images, and I'm going to look for my Little Henry Spirea, which is this. I like that a little bit better. And let's not put that in favorites. So let's click Save and Close. Now, look what's in my favorites now. Nothing. No, that's why. Because Itea was there. Okay. So there's my Okami cherry. If I go into my plants, both of those are in there. So let's say you start using Little Henry Sweet Spire a lot more, or Virginia Willow. you could go to your plants up in this labeler, go to there and select that, and that'll put it in your favorites. Okay, so let's close this out, open this up, let's go to favorites. So now they're both in your favorites. Let's just do boxwoods, and I can label all three of these. So let's go winter gem. Winter gem, right click, add that to your plant list. Now let's go to our plant list and go to winter gem. Let's put in the size of 24-inch to 30-inch. Add that. Oop, whoa, whoa. Okay. 24 to 30-inch now is probably like 40, let's say $43. And let's put them in my favorites. And let's save and close. Okay. So we have 3 plants now in our favorites category that I can label this drawing. So let me try to do a little split screen thing here. Okay. So let's make those our winter gem. So we're going to select this. We're going to click auto count. We're not going to click insert at all because watch what happens. It doesn't auto count. It gives you 1 winter gem. That's not going to be fun when you go to order and you have 1 winter gem for those. So click auto count and go. So we're going to click that and label that. Let's pretend that's our guideline so it's nice and clean. Let's label our Okami cherry there, and our sweet spire are these guys. Let's bring those over here. So it brought in the sizes too. If I didn't want to bring the sizes in, all you have to do is go to your plant list. No. You go into your settings, you go to your label attachments, and you can unclick size. And you can click OK. Make sure I did that right. Leader settings. Yeah, I did. Okay. So now when I label this, let's label those little Henrys. See, now it doesn't give sizes. Some people label with sizes, some people don't. Whatever you want to use. Okay, so we have our plant material. How many do we, so it's auto counted. If you click this button right here, which is, if you read it, it says, export a material list from this drawing. If you click that, this is going to give you the option of exporting a material list, whether it's your plants or your materials or both. So you can put plants and materials in this because there's no materials. But if you have materials on here too and you didn't want to export those, you just select plants. So here is where you can select what you want to export. You can export how many, obviously, you want. Common name is, I think, a good practice. Size and price. So if I export that to an Excel file, down here it's open. So what this just did is it gave me the quantity of what I'm using, the size, and the total price for all of those based on the price that I input. This is really neat because if you're going to price this out to several nurseries, I'm going to close this. If you're going to price this out to several nurseries, you can get rid of price and you can export this. And you can save this file as, actually, you know what I would do? What I would do is put price on here, export it, open that up, and then you could just get rid of all the prices, and then you can send this off to a nursery, and then they can enter in these prices. So you can get quotes very easily with this without having to manually type all of this. The other thing you can do, which is really slick, is you can take it, export it to Microsoft Word. Hopefully it might, hold on a minute. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there it is. So now what you can do is you can highlight this copy it. You can open a new Word document. Let's say this is your proposal, like we will install the following plant material, and then you can just right-click and paste this right into your document, and then maybe stretch that out so the size is a little bit bigger. So right there, this function saved you from having to count all your plants. It saved you from having to do a bunch of calculations, and now you're not typing this in every one of your proposals. That is a time burner and a time waster. So that's plants. Pretty cool. Let's close all these windows I have open. Okay, how about hardscapes? We'll do the same thing for hardscape. So this here is your place softscape labels. This here is your hardscape labels. So I already have some in I've kind of used. I use Manage 90% of the time with all my clients. So I haven't used this for years and years. And to be honest with everybody, I just retaught myself this last week so I know what I was talking about. And as I taught myself, I realized I should be using this for my clients, that I could use this for clients that that don't use Manage, or I just wanted to do it a little bit more simple and not have to do it out of Manage. So these are like for one customer who uses Cambridge. So again, you want to be on design labels, not estimating labels, because estimating labels pulls from Manage cost books if you have Manage. So you want design labels. Okay, so let's say we want to make a new material. Let's say we want to make this patio Techo block blue 60 millimeter with a Hera 6-inch by 6-inch paver border. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to click on New right here, New. So where it says descriptive name, I'm going to put Techo block. You can name this however you want. Blue 60 millimeter harvest gold. Then you're going to put a square foot price on it. So like right now, I think blue 60 is $2.90, maybe $3 a square foot. $3 a square foot. And we're going to put square foot. And we're going to close it. So see, now there's my harvest gold. Let's put Hera in there. So we're going to click Techo block Hera 6-inch by 6-inch. Let's do shale gray. I can't remember how much those are. Let's just say $3. I can't remember. Well, not probably like $3.50. That is per square foot. So we're going to close that. Then let's say we need snap edge or paver edging. Let's go and put snap edge price. Okay, so I don't remember. It's usually like $1 a foot, I think. So let's just put per foot is $1. Actually, yeah, let's just put $1. I might be wrong on that, but oh well. And that is per foot. So I'm going to close that. So now we have what we need to estimate our drawing. We have our snap edge, we have our harvest gold, and we have our shale gray. So let's go here and let's select our blue 60. And we're going to go here and we're going to select click inside to measure area, and we're going to select go. So watch what happens to this line right here. When I click in here, there's, well, you can kind of see it. There's like a little blue thing. Then I'm going to right click and then I'm going to drag this out. So there's my 275 square feet. And in here also you can unselect show quantity on labels, which if you're presenting this to a homeowner, I wouldn't put all that, because then they can just hand it to somebody else and then they've got all the information. They don't have to work at it. So I would, if I were you, I would get rid of show quantity on labels. You can put this on the takeoff layer if you want, if you just want to turn that layer off. So if I wanted to turn that layer off to print the drawing, I'll just go to my takeoff layer. I may have burned right by it and didn't even see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can turn that off, and it's not there, but it's really still there. I just go back down and turn it back on again. So now what have I done? Okay, let's turn this back on again. Okay, so I've turned the labeling. Let's say we show quantities. Well, let's just keep it consistent. Show quantity on labels. Okay, now we want to do our 6x6 border. So on this, we're going to want to select the perimeter. So we're going to measure the length of the perimeter. And we're going to click Go. And we're going to go to the border. We're going to click on that. See how it turned blue? We're going to left-click it, now right-click, and now left-click again, and drag that out. Now what I want to do is I want to see how much border I need. So I'm going to draw myself just like a little fictitious line here, because we're not going to need an edge restraint against the building or the house. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go to my snap edge, and I'm going to measure the length of that again, and I'm going to click Go. And I'm going to left-click it, it highlights, right-click, and I'm going to left-click again, and it says 36 feet, which that is exactly how many feet I need. If I were to float this out and go to my measuring tool and left and right click it, it's 35.7, so it rounded it up, which obviously you're going to want to do. So speaking of rounding up, this is not going to give you waste. This isn't going to say 275 square feet, but we need to add another like 30 square feet for cuts. You have to kind of adjust that on your printout. So now what happens? We can print out a plant and material list. Let's do it in Excel. Now watch what happens. Now we have a plant list and we have a material list. So there's Techo Block Blue with the square footage price, 71 feet. Oh, okay, yeah, 36 feet of that at $1, 71 feet at I think we did $3.50. So will it put different areas together? Yes. So if I have a circular walkway or circular patio here, and I wanted to do the same thing, and I wanted to put Techo Block Blue in there too, I'm going to click inside there. So I have another 266 feet. I need snap edge, so I'm going to click the perimeter. No, over there. And then I'm going to need Hera border. So I'm going to click Go there. Okay, so now what happens? When I export my, let's get rid of this so you don't get confused which is which. Now when I export it, it's going to add like areas together. So look what it did. It added my harvest gold, it added my snap edge, it added this. So you could take this, and if you still are estimating by a square foot price, I mean, this is something that you could very easily give somebody rough numbers. Like normally when you charge in retail, you're going to get 3 to 3.5 times the price of the plant. So you could really easily say, you know, this tree is going to be 135 times 3. You know that's going to be $405. The Little Henry's 72. So if you do like 72 times 3, that's going to be about 216. And then the boxwoods for 559 times 3, that's 16, whatever that was, 1677. So this is obviously not the best way to estimate, but most of the time when you figure out the right labor and plants and all that, it ends up being right around 3 to 3.5 times. At least that's kind of what I experienced. You could do the same thing with this. With Blue 60, you know, you should try to get, I mean, I don't know, like maybe $16 a square foot maybe is what some people would do. So if you would do 16 times 1623, that's, no, that's not right. $16 a square foot times 541 square feet, 8,600. So you could throw like 8,600 there, and you do now snap edge, $94. You could do like $300 for snap edge, and then 450 times 3 is 9 plus 45 is like 1350. I hope I did my math right. So then you can add all of these together, and you can get a total price for you to be able to give somebody a really quick budget study. So this is really cool. So this is how you can really estimate right off of your plan pretty quick. So if you were to do, this goes into another topic I wanted to go over. Let's say this is up front, and you wanted to show somebody, no. Let's say this is in the back. But they only want to do this patio this year, so we could do like, let's say patio 1, patio 2. Move this over. So we'll go patio 1, patio 2. Okay. So let's say we were going to do those at a different time. This feature here, if you don't use Manage, you probably don't use this. But this is how you group and work areas. So if I were to select this and I wanted to add a work area, let's say phase 1, and I'm going to add phase 2. So this is like with Manage, these would be called work areas, or you could put front yard, plant installation, yada yada, back pool installation, patio, whatever. And what happens in Manage is you group all these together, and then when you bring it into an estimate, these are all broken out in the proposal and work areas. You can do something similar, but on a lot more basic functionality here. You could select this and select this one, this, and this, and right click, and then you can go to phase 2, which it automatically assigns a different color, and click select, and you can do that. So if anybody at your office or you wants to know what we're doing now, what we're doing later, you know that this is going to be phase 1, phase 2. Or let's say you're on the phone with somebody and they're saying, well, I want to do this now, this later, this now, this later. You could go in here, and as you're talking, phase 1, she says, yeah, I want to do the Okami cherry now. Okay, Okami cherry. I want to do the sweet spires now, but I want to do the boxwoods in phase 2. So you can start assigning these things, and these are like little notes you could make. Now when you export this, it doesn't export it into work areas. It still just does it as a lump number. So you would have to break those out, and that is one benefit of keeping these numbers labeling, so you can look at this real fast and see what quantities are on there. So use this to your advantage. Use this to speed you up, because the estimating, I think, in my opinion, is the most laborious part of design, getting everything, all the takeoffs figured out. Up here you would name this like Thompson residence, or you could put a job number on it. Let's do TOMP-GG-01 and export that. Then when you send it to the nursery, they'll have a cost code. So like when you're buying plants, you have cost codes that puts that towards those plants. That would be on your invoice, and then whatever, that gets into tracking. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about in this webinar. So at this point, Mike, I can try to answer as many questions as you have.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pat. That was fantastic. I think that's a lot of good stuff that people don't necessarily use on a regular basis. So let me open up my questions here, and we've just got a couple of them here. So
Okay.
the first thing that the first couple of questions I had actually had to do with the pillars you mentioned first.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was, how did you offset those pillars with equal distances? And then the second person just asked if you could review that one more time.
Okay. Well, I didn't offset them equal distances. They may have looked pretty close. But if I were to offset these things equal distances, what I would do is just go to my rocks, go to my pillar, and if you want to offset these 4 feet apart, all I do is this. I put a 4-foot line in the middle like this, and then I'll take this and I'll drag this over like this, line it up, line it up, line it up. So now I'm 4 feet away on every one. I could do this tool where I've never done it with pillars though, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do this right. But this offset tool, if I want to offset 4 foot and I want to click this in the line, oh, so it's doing center to center is what it's doing. I was selecting this. So if you're offsetting center to center, that's an option, but and let's just double check. Yeah, so it's doing that and not inside to inside. So the first way I did, that's what I would do.
And can you just review one more time about how you did the boxes around the outside of them?
Yes. Okay, so let's say I do a 4-foot pillar, which I don't know why, well, you do a 4-foot pillar. So I want to assign a dimension to my pillar. So we're going to select this one. We're going to type 4 foot and 4 foot. Then I'm just going to go draw a 4 foot by 4 foot box. 4, 4, enter. Then I'm going to take it like from this corner. Whoop. You could even do this too if you wanted to. Take this and just move it right over the top of that. Okay. Doesn't look right though. Okay, so now I'm going to copy this over. Make sure your copy tool's on. Copy, copy, copy. Now I just need a guideline for my wall. So I'm going to click my inference, and I can just run this right outside here. Let's say we're going to make a 2-foot wide wall. So let's offset this line 1 foot this way, 1 foot this way. So now we have a 2-foot wide wall. Get rid of this guy, and then just use this trim tool here. And if whoever asked the question isn't sure about that trim tool or anybody else, here's what trim tool does. This tool here is trim to the closest intersection. If I want to trim this out, I left click and right click. If I want to trim this out, I left click and right click. So that's all I'm doing with this. I'm hitting this, I'm hitting this, and let me show you what's really happening. What I'm doing is I'm trimming all this stuff out here, and then I'm leaving that, which is perfect because that's never going to color in color. So if I do this, it's going to cut all that out. And then I'll get rid of, let me go back. So I just cut that through there, cut through there, cut through there, cut through there, and then if I don't want that, I'm good. So now if you're going to send this into color, you can just take a box right around here. And now you have something that you can color in Dynascape or in color. If you're hand coloring, you don't need to worry about that. Okay?
Great. The next question we had here is basically for text labeling. If you wanted it to actually appear on a text layer, which one would you use? What tool?
Okay, I'm not sure I understand.
Just for labeling on the text layer as opposed to, I believe it was probably in comparison with the takeoff layer that you were using.
Okay. So let's just do a little exercise. So let's go to hardscaping. First of all, whenever you do, let's do this, and you enter in, let's see, let's insert. Let's just pretend it's a plant. If you control and click on that, it's going to tell you what layer that comes in on. So if I go into Hardscape and do Harvest Gold, and I click inside, even though it's, let's see here. Okay, so it's on the takeoffs layer. Let's get rid of this, and instead let's unselect takeoff layer. And now it's probably Hardscape labeling. Yeah, so now it's Hardscape labeling. What I do with all my drawings at the end, I change everything to walkway layer. I go like this because I just like the walkway layer size or text. Now, even though those are in work areas, they'll still print correctly. So I change everything to this, and then I always change all my text to 2 foot. And I'll drag this up. I just like the size of 2 foot more than what the system's defaulted, because more times than not, I was always asked, can you make the text a little bigger? And I've just found that in any scale drawing, 2 foot by 2 foot is a nice size. And all you do is you just drag up, and everything it selects, it hits, and it resizes it. You can also change the font of it too. I mean, if I wanted to make that different, I could change the font. You can do all kinds of fun things with that, but I don't know anybody who uses this one, but oh well. Okay, so that's that.
Great. And then so the final question I have here is, in terms of labeling again, how would you label materials as if you were doing, for example, mulch, like an X number of inches mulch on a bed?
Okay, so let's do this. Let's make a bed, a landscape bed. All right, so let's run this. Run this out here, run this in there, and then we'll run here. Okay, so let's just say that's a bed, and now I go through with my polyline. And this is a good review for how to do polylines perfectly circular for radiuses. Okay, so let's get rid of my circles now. Oh. This is the 20-minute answer here. Okay, all right, so there's my bed line. So let's say I want to do mulch. So I would go in and I would put one for mulch. Mulch installation, or I mean, you could figure out how much you're going to have in cost of mulch. You could put like black mulch installation, black mulch. I don't know, like you could do $25 a yard, and you would put each. That would be like a yard, and we'd close that. So now we should have mulch bed area, and if I click inside there, I know I have 1,217 square feet, and now when I export this, plants and materials, it's going to tell me oh, that's why that happened. I didn't assign a price. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to mulch, and let's go $25 each. Close. And now we're going to label that. So if I go to my mulch bed area and click inside, get rid of this old one, and export this, it should tell me, whoa, 30,000. I must have entered in a material cost incorrectly. So that's what I would do. Mulch. 25 each square. Oh, you're better off just doing a square footage for mulch it's saying every square foot I'm getting $25, which would be awesome to be able to do, but you don't do that. You can't get away with that. So I would just do square footage for that, and it will at least tell you how many square feet of mulch you have. Or you could do one for soil prep. You could do one for like doing pre-emergent, or if you did fertilization for a lawn, you can do that. So it's a basic calculator. Manage does all that, where it will tell you how many yards based on what the quantity is. So that's that question.
Great. I think that's everything I had. So, oh, hold on, I had one more thing in here. Oh, could you just repeat, sorry, one more time, the label for square footage?
Sure.
For hardscaping materials.
Okay. Let's float a square patio. Okay. I want pavers inside, and I want a border. So there's my border. Okay. I'm going to go to Hardscape. I'm going to enter in either what material I use, or if you already have them, let's say we're going to use Cambridge Paver Field. So you're going to go Measure Area, click Inside, and select Go. You're going to left-click, right-click, left-click. There's your square footage. Oop. Now we want a border. So our border is shale gray. So we're going to go to Length, which is the perimeter. I'm going to select this one, and we're going to go there. Feet. Now we know we need 3,200 square feet of that, and we know we need 233 square feet of that. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 233 feet of that. And then you can do the calculation, which is going to be 100 and what? 116.5 feet, square feet. Make sense?
Great. Okay, well, yeah, thank you again, Pat. This has been great. I don't have any other questions at this point. I will, again, as I mentioned, we'll have this webinar posted to our website shortly in the articles and videos section on the Dynascape website. And if anyone has any other further questions they think of later for Pat, just contact Dynascape and we'll pass along his information, if that's all right, Pat.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Great. All right, thank you, everyone, for your time, and enjoy the season.
Take care.
Bye, guys.